Hello again. I'm on a mission, but that's besides the point. If you hear just a touch of rattling, it's because I have cats. Anyways, there's so many. There's so many movies I've watched. Um, sorry. So the movie I have picked that is chosen to be for me to ramble on about. Hopefully, everyone who tunes in, pass by, swipes by, looks at, sees this, goes, not for me, is Drumline. In fact, I'm just going to talk about the ones like, you see these in repetitive and it's the same blue shirt. I am talking about movies that I saw during a specific time frame. But this one gets a specific light today. This movie, this gem is Drumline. Now, if you haven't seen Drumline, well, where have you been? It has Nick Cannon in it before he had children, so I'm sure none of his baby mamas even were born. Um, so yeah, Nick Cannon is in it. Being just as corny as he is, before someone possibly like leaves something weird. Whoops. Just know I don't care. Anyway, Drumline. Drumline, Nick Cannon is a high school graduate who has faux pawed his way into getting a drum band scholarship. I don't know what it's called because I was not in band. I was in orchestra, which I guess might be sort of obvious. Anyways, at his graduation, this is a telltale sign. Number one, I don't think he can read, like read music, which you still almost being a stereotype. So at his high school graduation, which is all of 40 people. Sorry, it's just mine. It was like a bunch, but it's like 40 people at this graduation, and there's like 15 band people on the stage. Yeah, most high school graduations they do outside. So yeah, this one 40 people, and they start doing the what's it called, the processional. I forgot what the end song is, but they start playing the processional and they start, doing the drums. And then he starts banging and clacking on the drums. I know for a fact that probably wasn't the piece that they remembered. Here he go, drumming and clacking, and his mom just clapping, snapping in the audience, enabling him. Did she ever see him practice? Probably not. Just to make it about myself, my granddaddy would make us play in front of him because he was just so amazed at us playing our instruments. There was only one cousin of mine that played in band. The rest of us did orchestra. I like to say I was the trailblazer. Anyways, we see that he leaves his high school graduation of 40 people. I'm sorry to anyone that graduated and it was only 40 people. I went to a humongous high school. So if you went to a small one, was it nice? Like, how was the vibe? Anyways, and he goes to his dad because, yep, his dad wasn't in his life. Wow. So he tells his dad he was gonna give him a ticket to his graduation, but he was like, "Eh." Which I mean, you could understand. Your dad wasn't around. He just was existing, and then he like gives him the graduation ticket after the graduation and is like, "Yeah, here you go. I did it without you." He finally makes it to college. We meet a couple of the bandmates. I was gonna say no Diddy. We meet a couple of the bandmates on the bus because dang, what's the character's name? The tall big dude. We're just gonna call him Earl, which he looks like an Earl. So, anyways, Earl gets up and introduces himself because he's feeling bold. He's feeling, He's feeling like he wants to communicate with people. So he does that. And dang, the other guy, the one that does, you know what? I don't know what this one is called. My cousin would more than me, but I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna find it and then I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna put it right here. Okay. So, Chloe, when you edit this, put it right here. The one where you go like this. Okay, so you do that, and then yeah, he introduces himself, and he's like, he heard the band playing from down the street from his house, and he was like in awe, which I get it. But not to talk about orchestra. Orchestra just does something to you different, but band is cool too. But you know, I'm biased. So they all introduce themselves, and they eventually make it to the campus. Actually, I never thought about this. They all are on the bus. When are you going to college? Are they going to band camp first? Is that like a thing? Like, you know, when you do band in college? You know what? I don't really know. So, yeah, they eventually make it to the campus. Nick Cannon's characters. His name is Miles. By the way, his name is Miles. Miles. Oh, I forgot. His name's Jason. I forgot his character's name, but that's not really super important. Yeah. They all make it to the campus, as I say for the third freaking time. And they're all clamoring with each other, cackling, whatever. And then he spots Zoe Saldana from across the grass with her sorority jacket on. You know, when she was black. He approaches her, freshly 18, can't read sheet music to save his life, goes up to Miss I Want to Be a Dancer. If you don't major in something else, not dancing. So he introduces himself trying to be Playboy suave. It doesn't work because she's 21. Anyways, she's not moved. She does smirk at his introduction. Here's how he goes, which would have. So, she's not moved. I wouldn't have been moved either. He says, which I don't know how you think. You can clearly see that this girl is somewhat older than you. Start with, now this may work in different sections of New York, but when you come down here, he says, "Hey yo ma, hey yo ma." What? Why? Just why? She actually humors him later. Okay, her and her 21-year-old friends in the sorority are like all cackling, clearly talking about him. They go to their room. Miles and his bandmates go to their room, their band dormitories. And then instead of sleeping in, because they have band the next morning, band is taken super serious. Right up there with the military. Sorry, it's just with orchestra. Like there was like orchestra camp, jazz camp, but not band camp. Band camp is different. But yeah, they should be sleeping in. Instead, what do? I'll tell you. They go to the club. You have to wake up at 5 in the morning if you don't go to sleep. So Miles gets there, not in the uniform. His mom could have bought him 5 white shirts. And so what did she do? Let him pack his bag. Boy, boy, oh boy. His roommate is Jason Weaver's character. Do I remember the character's name? No. So Miles gets up. He gets up on time. I guess he set an alarm. Jason did not. Jason did not get up on time. There was like 5 or 6 people that showed up late. The band director is like, why didn't everyone show up on time? Miles says with a slick mouth, I'm not his mom. Miles, it's your first day here. Let's try and make a good impression, shall we? So the band director bites back with, So everyone that isn't, I'm so sorry, Jason Weaver's character's mom, run a couple laps. And then do it times 2. Since no one here is anyone's mom. That's the type of time I would have been on. Get her on time. So that happens. And yeah. And then we have like a nice little cute montage a couple times. Miles is trying to woo Zoe Saldana's character, Miss I Want to Be a Dancer. It's gonna be like probably 3 more times, but I can't help it. Again, this is when she was black. Right. Anyways, so yeah, this is when she was black, and she was gonna introduce him to her parent, and he had cornrows in, which okay. Right. They're hanging out, they're having a good time, and they have I'm just gonna call it Battle of the Bands. Like the halftime show, I guess is what you actually could call it. But they have band battles between them and the team that's meeting them, or if it's like homecoming, they were like battling. And then one time, Miles decides to let it get to his head because clearly he's the best, even though he can't read sheet music, which is kind of important in band, orchestra, even choirs. Actually, probably especially choir because you're using your voice. But yeah, he doesn't know how to read sheet music. They have their first like game, and the other bald guy in command, he doesn't really care for Miles, but they're basically like the same character. There's not really like a big difference between the two of them, except one's older, more mature, and knows a little bit better, less arrogant. One is younger, more arrogant, doesn't know better. They're basically the same character. There's not really much of a difference between them. He tells Miles, hey, so since you think you're so good, you do the solo piece. Miles is like, all right, I got it. Even though Miles has not read the sheet music. You have to know how to read the sheet music. So, like, he's like, yeah, I got it. He hasn't practiced not once. Anybody who has done a solo, choir, band, or orchestra knows you have to practice your solo. There's no way you can just wing it. So, it comes to the time for the solo. Miles almost chokes. Then he steps in front of Bald Man in Command. I keep calling him that because I do not remember his name. He steps in front of Bald Man in Command, and then he finally does the solo. I say the solo because Miles can't read sheet music. Miles can't read sheet music. So I'm pretty sure 98% of that was made up. Oh, way before that, forgot about this part. When they try out to be on the band, even at all, P1, P2, P3, I think P4, you're like basically on the bench. They have to play off of sheet music that they have memorized. Miles can't read sheet music, so what does he do? Make up his own stuff. They're so impressed. They're like, oh, I guess he didn't think our piece was good enough. You can tell this movie was in the 2000s. I can't stress this enough. You try out for anything, choir, band, orchestra. I don't know. They may feed the notes to them now, but sounding so utterly. But back in the day, you would, have to memorize it from when you were auditioning for stuff. Ooh, man. Talk about fun and nerve-wracking at the same time. But for the sake of the movie, we're just so impressed. That would not have worked in real life. They would have been like, so the piece we had for you was this, and you played this made-up mess. Right. Okay. You're disqualified. So yeah, they're like so impressed, and the seniors flash the lights to say what number he should be on. They give him P1. Like, okay, great. So they battle. They go to some more Battle of the Bands, homecoming type things. They do that. One time is super crucial because Miles shows his butt. Zoe Saldana's parents are there. Pretty sure this is the homecoming. He shows his butt so bad. He gets in a fight with one of the drum battle people, and he gets in a tussle with them, with the whole entire other band. Like, you do know we're in public, right? Can you act right? So then Zoe Saldana's character is like, yeah, you're embarrassing. I'm not showing you to my parents. So like, who is this? She's like, I don't know. I wouldn't introduce you to my parents after that either. You're embarrassing. Why would I introduce you to my parents after that? Be so for real. So, like, he doesn't realize he made that mistake until, like, he sees her and she has on that stupid ponytail lip. I hate it. Oh boy, she must have done it herself. Anyways, and she like looks at him like, be so for real. I'm not introducing you to my parents, but like through her mind. She's like, no, and turns her parents away. And then Miles is like, oh, really? You gonna leave me hanging like that? Like, yes, you were embarrassing. So he gets on the bus. She goes away with her parents. At some point, he asks her, oh, and this is after because he missed the last question, so he had to shave off all his hair. Bye, cornrows. He asks her what's her major. She says business or something. No. She says something way more goofy. She says philosophy. Philosophy's cool, but as a major, what do you do with that though? But she's like, I did that like for my parents, but I really want to major in dance. Which unless you're a ballerina or what's her face from Step Up, why are you majoring in dance? But she wanted to major in dance. She didn't. She majored in philosophy. Miles, she said, what's yours? And he said, I don't know. She's like, oh, must be nice. You're undecided? Which, okay, he's a freshman. I think that's pretty normal for a freshman to be undecided. But majoring in clown was not an option, so he had to go with undecided. Again, this is before he had 40 kids. How do you do that and be like, yes, I'm not creating broken homes? Like, honestly, like realistically speaking. And so after some time, Jason Weaver's character, so some time passes. Devin Miles. I've been saying it wrong this whole time. I cheated and used Google. Zoe Saldana's character is named Layla. So there's that. Earl is Jason Weaver's character. Ernest is the tall, burly dude. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Anyways, so at some point, actually, sorry, after he fist fought the band battle of the bands, he actually like kind of got kicked out. And Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee is like, yeah, man, sorry, you're like out of the band. Which gotta be heartbreaking. You freshly 18, you're like, yes, I'm in the band. I can't read the music. But yeah, this is where it's at for me, personally speaking. So he gets kicked out of the band, and we have this montage where it's just the music playing. He's like super sad. I get it. So yeah, like he's not really talking to his girl. He got kicked out of the band. Awful time. Straight awful time. Anyways, his I finally want to step up negligent dad sends him some tapes with past music with past musicians. We get a nice little drumming montage. I liked it. I thought it was nice. He finally gets some type of this isn't about me thing, or blah blah blah. And he goes to the purple and white school. Sorry, it's called Morris something. But we're just gonna call it purple and white school. So he goes to the purple and white school to talk to the short bald man. They have Petey Pablo as a guest at their Battle of the Big Bands thing that's at the end, hosted by 106 in Park. Free and AJ. Sorry, that was like before Roxy and what's that dude's name? Yeah, Roxy and what's his face. So yeah. Anyways, so he goes to the purple and white school, talks to the short bald man, and is like, can I go to the school? But then the short bald man is like, can you give us some deets on what Dr. Lee is doing? And he's like, and it rubs him the wrong way. Like, why are you asking me that? I came here to ask you if you could give me a spot on the team next year. And you're like, so give me some deets. Give me some, what are they doing? Like, no, that's not what I came to you like for. I came to you for like guidance and stuff. And you're like trying to cheat me out of answers. So anyways, we finally make it to the Battle of the Big Bands. I guess the school gets like a big scholarship or something. This is by far the blackest event. It's I liked it. Granted, they deserved to win, I guess. The dances were cool. It almost made me wish when I was 10 and I saw this that I was in band. However, orchestra, so nice, so cool. The vibes definitely were me. But band was nice. I only know that because I was in symphony. You know what? I'm going to stop talking about stuff. Anyways, so by the time we get to this point, Devin Miles is still on the bench. He is not there. And then when after they finish doing the mini big battle of the bands, and they finally get to the big battle of the bands part, was the purple and white school and then their school. The guy who looks like Nick Cannon but isn't Nick Cannon, they tell him to take off his uniform. They should have just had Devin bring his own uniform just in case, unless I guess he had to turn it back in. But yeah, so they have not Nick Cannon give Nick Cannon, Devin Miles, his uniform. They end up winning the big battle of the bands. And the end. Devin Miles learns some type of humility. He gets his girl, Layla, Zoe Saldana, back. And his mom shows up to the game. See how his dad doesn't show up to the game? You still negligent. Oh my goodness. Anyways, his mom shows up to the big battle of the bands. She's so proud of him. Wait, am I making that up? No, she shows up. If I'm lying, I'm sorry. And then we end some more after the credits start rolling with the purple and white school. And they're, I'm sorry, I don't know what they're called, but we're gonna call them band dancers. The band dancers get up and start dancing. So that's the end of the movie. It's good to watch it like every once in a while. It's not a, it's, when movies were made. And now it's just like, here, sprinkle. I liked Drumline. It's a fave of mine. Um I missed the beginning though when I was younger though. My uncle was taking us and he didn't really want to see the movie. Back when they had dollar theaters, now that is a foregone thing. They don't do that anymore, which is very unfortunate. Dollar theaters were like the thing. Spend $1 getting in, $3 on the popcorn, and like $1 on the drink or something like that. They no longer exist. It's like a myth now, an anomaly. Anyways, if you would like to watch Drumline and feel something in your veins, it's on Tubi. May even be on YouTube. Sorry, and Disney Plus. But if you don't want to pay, it's on Tubi. I'm pretty sure. Tubi, Disney Plus, and YouTube. Now YouTube will have ads if you don't have YouTube Premium. Anyways, I would recommend this. If you want something feel good about a lesson and learning some type of humility and not being about just you, Drumline is a good one. Now if your dad was negligent, this may be a sore spot for you. But if you don't care about him, then watch Drumline. I would recommend, personally speaking. Anyways, until next time.